Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is Josh Finney. Hi, Josh.
Yeah. Hey, Corey.
No funsies to start the show this week,
No,
Josh. None. There's no room.
no.
No room for it. Josh, I know this is a Destiny podcast, and I know we really just want to talk about what happened in Destiny and Destiny Rising and all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
But
We can't.
something kind of surprising happened with the presidential election this week.
Yep.
And we need to address it. I mean, we have feelings, but there have been multiple people write in asking us to address this
Yeah.
because it's about to change a lot of people's lives.
And not in a good way.
Yeah, and not in the best way, including people that don't
Yep.
live in this country. So,
Yep.
look, skip ahead about 20 minutes, probably, if you're listening to this, if you don't want to hear this. But we're gonna address it because we need to address it. So,
Yeah. No. Fuck that. I don't care. The
um,
fire sad chat time, guys.
yeah. So, unless you've been sleeping under a rock, you know that Donald Trump has been elected the 47th president of the United States of America, and kind of shocking how much he won by. And, we have had a few people write in to ask us how we feel, what our concerns are. And they have also addressed that they are concerned. We are not going to name names. But I think it's important off the top before we say anything is that
Mm-hmm.
as a community, as a as this podcast, as our friends in the Discord and everything else, our stance has been fairly clear for years now. We want an inclusive, helpful, respectful community, and if you can't be that way, you can unsubscribe, you can leave, you can not be part of the channel or the Discord. Josh and I don't care. That's
Yeah.
the kind of community and the type of people we want in our community. And if you can't accept that and respect people for who they are or what they believe in or what color their skin is or who they love or what kind of financial situation they're in, then you need to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think we can be any more clear than that. Like this was a community that we made because we wanted it to be a positive community. We wanted it to be, above all else, a safe community for people to come and feel like they had a place inside of a massively online game that tends to skew uh towards the male demographic, I would say. And we know how those online spaces can be pretty toxic. There's a phrase that's been used a lot: toxic masculinity. And I think online gaming really suffers from this. We think of it in games like League, like COD, Apex. You see it in the professional Fortnite scene. You see it in pretty much any game that gets really heavily streamed. And I think Destiny is one of the better communities out there. I want to be really clear about that, but there are still a lot of really toxic people, and they're on the younger side of things. The generation, I would say the generation like right behind me, is really, really susceptible to that shit. Even my generation is, to a degree, right? Like, mine was really the last generation that grew up without social media. Like, MySpace became a thing when I was in high school, and Facebook kind of hit the masses around that time too. And it just got worse from there. I think Twitter is basically useless now. It is essentially an easier to use 4chan for a lot of people. But you look at the voices out there in the online sphere, and you look at just so much of what gets pushed around these days, and it's not a surprise to see that people act the way that they do. So all that being said, on the subject of the election and on the subject of a lot of the policies that the now ruling party wants to put into place immediately directly affect not only Corey and I, but a lot of our listeners as well. We
Hmm.
have several members of the LGBTQ community in our, in our Discord, especially, and that listen to the show that have written into us. I'm personally friends with several, both in Discord and in real life. Obviously, I'm friends with a lot of people of color, and every single one of them that I have talked to over the last couple of days is extremely concerned, and for good reason. Like
Hmm.
this is a campaign that was run on bigotry, on hate, on one that runs on pretty much uncontrolled and unchecked supremacy. Like that if you are not exactly the way that we tell you to be, you are lesser than us, you are dirt, you do not deserve to exist, you do not deserve to have the same rights. I mean, I implore you, if you have not seen Project 2025, I implore you to read that and look into it, regardless of who you voted for, because it's gonna fuck you at some point. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be on January 21st when he takes
It could be
office.
it could be 10 years from now. It could be 20 years from now.
This election, to put it very bluntly, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, I'm not trying to alarm anybody, but if you're alarmed, hey, maybe this is the wake up call that you need. Progress has been set back a generation.
Hmm.
It is highly likely the Supreme Court will shift to a 7-2 ratio, which it was already bad at 6-3. It's going to be even worse now. We don't know the outcome of the House yet. If it's the presidency, the Senate, and the House, that is bad no matter who is in charge.
Yeah.
No matter who's in charge, that is bad. To have the trifecta of all three branches of government and both branches of Congress is a disaster. That basically means you have unchecked power. You can do whatever you want, and that is not the way it was intended to be by the voters.
Hmm. I'm gonna. I'm
Like we talk about some of the things that directly affect us, and I mean, one of the things, for instance, today, and I'm going to let Corey speak on this in a second because it directly affects him. One of the things they want to do is mass deportation of immigrants, whether you are legal or illegal, and that is fucking alarming. I don't care who you are; that should alarm you. That alone, if they are able to do that, will completely wreck your economy. Like on top, and the economy is far less of a concern to me than the human rights issues that are going to come out of this, right?
yeah. Um. Yeah. On the immigrant deportation thing, my wife and I have been having many conversations about that today throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, my wife is an immigrant from the Ukraine. Um, they moved here when she was 3 years old. Uh, she was not born here, and her sister are very scared.
Mm-hmm.
For many reasons, but that is a big reason. And they're both U.S. citizens. They got their citizenship,
Mm-hmm.
before we even met, right? I mean, my wife got it when she was a lot younger, right? I mean, grade school, um,
Mm-hmm.
and they are they are pretty scared right now, um,
Well, I mean,
and
especially not only that, but the situation back in Ukraine,
yeah, I mean that's even worse too. I
which is
mean
about to get a lot worse.
they still have family over there
Mm-hmm.
that they don't. Some of them they don't even know what's going on with them right now because they can't contact them,
Mm-hmm.
and not only whenever he takes office is that funding going to stop to the Ukraine. Knowing him, it's going to go to the other side,
Yeah.
right? And like there's just like that situation alone has caused a massive wreck in our house
Mm-hmm.
on top of the Project 25 stuff and the things that are going to protect us or our children or even their grandchildren, right? Or our grandchildren at someday. And it's become a massive problem in a lot of ways, and it's very concerning. And I just hope that
Yeah.
I hope, even though we strongly dislike a lot of the other people that are in office, just hope that they have some sort of intelligent bone in their body to not have this pass.
A moral
And I
compass.
know like executive orders exist
Hmm.
and all that, and that's even scarier because it takes a lot of trust to be the president and not, you know, abuse those, right? And we
Right.
haven't had that really yet. Even really the last time he was in office, he really didn't abuse that power to the extent he could have.
I will say this: the last time there were some adults in the room, and we didn't know the extent of that until after January 6th. That there were actually some adults in the room preventing some of the absolute worst shit that could have happened. There's not going to be any of this time. I want to be really, really honest about that. Like, the worst people you can possibly imagine are going to run your government. Like, putting RFK in charge of Health and Human Services is a disaster. You're putting a straight up anti vaxxer and someone who wants to remove fluoride from the water and get rid of things like polio vaccines in charge. That's a problem.
Mhm.
That's a huge problem. That's something that affects, you know, it affects everyone. And who the fuck cares if it doesn't affect you? It affects people you care about. That's what I don't understand is the people that have come out online and been like, well, you know, I'm not a woman. This doesn't affect me. Well, I'm not a person of color or an immigrant. This doesn't affect me. It affects someone you care about. I guarantee you, someone you love is going to suffer because of this. And that's before
Also,
we even
just
get to
because,
the broader issues of the economy and
yeah.
everything else. And like, also, it's called fucking human decency. Who
Also,
gives an actual shit what your skin color is, what your religion is, what your gender identity is? Who fucking cares? You are a human being. We all deserve love and compassion and respect. And there is a huge amount of people in this country who just do not give a fuck
mhm,
about that. They do not give a fuck.
yeah. I
And
mean, they're
I'm
gonna.
over it. I'm upset. This is the same stance we had back in 2020. Our stance has not wavered. It has not changed. Like, we have to take care of each other because it is extremely
I mean,
clear the people who are supposed to do it are not going to do it or do not have the power to do it. And that is insane to me.
yeah. I mean, over the last three days, since this 2 days, 3 days, however long
Mhm.
it fucking happened,
It's been
like
40 it's been about 48 hours.
I I've probably heard, aside from my wife and
Mhm.
her family, I've probably heard from 60 something people, and
Yeah.
just trying to make sure they're okay and if they're all right. And
Mhm.
you know I, j- I'm scared for a lot of people, right? I'm scared for the people that I care about. And this, I
Yeah.
mean, this is like, Medicare and Medicaid are going to go away. Your
The
social
Affordable Care
security
the
is
Affordable
going to
Care
go
Act,
away.
Social Security is going to be gutted.
I mean, educational funding is going to be extremely
Yep.
reduced. Who even
The
knows if
Department
there's
of
going to be?
Education is gone. It's
Yeah, who
gone.
knows? Who knows if there's even going to be public schools? Right? I mean,
Yep.
that's. I mean,
They
that's.
want it, and the ones that are left, they want to force religious indoctrination in there. And like, listen, I got love for people who want to follow their religion. I'm personally not super religious myself. I've kind of undergone my own spiritual journey in my teens and my 20s, going from, Protestant to like pretty deep in the evangelical world to like now I'm like a borderline atheist. And a lot of the reason I'm a borderline atheist is because of what I've witnessed over the last decade in the country and in the church in particular. And this isn't to talk about religion or politics or anything like that, but you can't have this stance of, well, fuck your feelings and this and that, and then the second that your guy wins, guys, we gotta respect the rule of law, we gotta respect who the leaders are, when I just had to listen to you for the last 4 years telling me about how Joe Biden's the worst fucking president in history and this and that. Like, you can't love your country and respect your leaders only when your side wins. That's just not how this works. And I'm not telling, and I am not, I want to be really clear. I'm not telling anybody you have to respect the leaders of this country. You are, that is part of what makes America such an incredible country, is that you can, right now, freely disagree with your elected leaders. Like, we have the power to go to the ballot box and change that. And sometimes the change doesn't go the way that we want it to go. And that is terrifying for all of us. That's terrifying for our loved ones. The next 4 years, at minimum, are going to be extremely rough. Because let me tell you something. Some of you guys are going, well, Trump is old. He's going to be out in 4 years. I would highly encourage you to look into JD Vance and who backs him. Because do you want Elon Musk and Peter Thiel running your government? Because that's pretty much what's happening at this point. And that's really terrifying. That's really, really scary. Two of the richest men on earth are going to run the country. That can't end good for anybody at all. The meddling of billionaires and people who just want to line their pockets and get richer and richer and richer are the only ones who are going to benefit from anything that happened on Tuesday. I cannot stress this enough, how much the common person is going to be impacted by this. And you may not feel it right away. You may not feel it in the first year or two. You may not even feel it in the full 4 years, because it does take a while to change the economy and this and that. But you're going to start feeling it. More people decided that the price of eggs and gasoline was more important than the rights of their fellow citizens.
And the
And the
funny thing is that
security
stuff's going to go up
and the peace of
now too
mind of
anyway.
their fellow citizens.
And that stuff's going to go up anyway.
Stuff's going to go up anyways. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm very angry about this. I'm very upset. This is me calmed down after 2 days. I was ranting and raving Tuesday night and especially Wednesday morning. I was talking with a lot of different people who work at different companies and this and that, who are in different organizations, and pretty much everybody had the exact same reaction. We're going to be angry today. We're going to be upset. We're taking the time that we need right now. But the work doesn't stop here. And unfortunately for like Corey and I, kind of accepting that we're like, there is a high chance that things get changed in a way that it takes the rest of our lifetimes for things to be undone. That it takes 25, 30 years to undo some of the things that are going to happen. If what they want to do passes, which is gut federal agencies and instill loyalists instead of qualified individuals, the Supreme Court is another great example, then yeah, it's going to take generations to undo that. So my thing is, what can we do now?
Yeah.
You can back leaders that you know are going to support change. And I know for some of us, that's a lot harder than others. I live in a super red state. I live in Texas. Texas hasn't gone blue since before I was born, basically. Like, the last time we elected a Democrat from here to the Senate, or to, well, not Congress, because we elect House reps all the time. The last time we elected a state senator or a governor from here that was a Democrat was like 1994. I was 2, guys. I was 2. I don't even think I was living in. I might not have even been living in Texas when that happened yet. So, and Corey lives in the ever wonderful area of the swing states, the fabled blue wall, all that. More like a.
I mean, the area I live in is super
blue
red.
chain link.
Like the area I live in is so red that I don't even know why I bothered voting.
Which is a wild change from when it went twice for Obama, but.
Well, I'm
that's
Ohio.
Yeah.
Statistically is usually blue,
Mm-hmm.
but the area I live in, dude. You know what? You know when I knew something bad was going to happen on Tuesday. I went and got gas. I went and got gas in the morning before work,
Mm-hmm.
and I was driving to work, and I'm driving down the back roads, and I see this house that have passed 1,000 times with massive Trump Vance handmade signs in their
Mm-hmm.
yard. And the two old people that live there were sitting on their front porch with their American flag t-shirts on and their MAGA hats on, drinking beer at like, I had gone to the doctor that morning, so it was like 10 o'clock. It was like 10:15 in the morning. And I'm like, man, I have a bad feeling. And that was Tuesday morning.
I'd like to disparage the 10 a.m. beer, but I definitely engaged in like a 9 a.m. beer yesterday.
Well, that's different. This was
I definitely had a shower beer yesterday morning. I'm not even gonna lie. I have a little caddy in my shower. That may be indicative of a problem, but in all seriousness, though, like the how do I want to phrase this?
there's no easy way to phrase it, Josh.
Just the damage that can potentially be done to this country, that can be done to our friends, our families, our loved ones, our coworkers, people we don't even know, people that we only know as a screen name, cannot be understated. And I feel pretty confident saying, like Corey said at the top, if you do not respect our stance of everybody matters, everyone matters. If you cannot respect that, get the fuck out. Just leave. Like I would rather do this show for 10 people than 1,000. If that means that we have people who care about each other, who respect each other, and this and that. This will continue to be a safe place for everybody. I do not give a shit. We respect human decency here. Okay? I'm angry, I'm pissed off, I'm fired up. We're going to be angry about it we're going to be upset about it for a few days. And maybe a few days, few weeks, month or two, whatever. But we start by organizing. We start getting people into office at the local levels and at the state levels. They can make a difference sooner, hopefully. Vote in your local elections, vote in your state elections. Don't just turn out when it's 4 years for the presidency. I cannot stress enough how much I want people to understand that. That's where a lot of change starts, is at the local and state levels. And in the meantime, I would encourage everyone to check in on your friends, check in on your loved ones, find a good nonprofit to volunteer for. I'll tell you something. The only semi positive thing that I have felt came out of this was, for me on a personal level, that I kind of know what I want to do with my life now. For a long time, I have wanted to work in games. I have wanted to work in games media. It has been my dream to interview people. It's been my dream to write for a living. And for the first time, I feel like I don't want to do that anymore. For the first time since I was like 12 years old, I don't feel like that's what I want to do with my life anymore. I don't want to work in media. I want to spend my life helping people. I want my life to mean something. I want to spend my time helping the less fortunate. I want to spend my time helping kids who don't have anybody at home. Like, I cannot overstate. Like I said earlier, how things are going to happen and be enacted that Corey and I might not see undone in our lifetimes, or we might be real old by the time it does. So what happens now? We make the road better. We pave the road for the next generation. If that's what my life comes down to, is making sure that, like, I'm probably not going to have kids of my own. Realistically, that's a whole nother subject. But if it means that my friends' kids grow up in a better world, and that we show them that there is a better way, then my life has meant something. That the pain and the suffering that some of us are going to go through, that maybe, just maybe, there's an ounce of hope, that some sliver of morsel of hope can come out of it. And I don't, by saying that, I don't mean to disparage anybody who is feeling down about this, who feels targeted by this, who is understandably, completely and totally devastated by this. It is a lot different hearing it from two straight white guys who are not even in the targeted demographics, than it is hearing it from people whose voices need to be amplified. I encourage you, if you do not understand why all this is such a big deal, do your research, do some reading, read up on read up on Project 2025. I implore you to do that. I implore you to get involved locally, to read about what is going on at the local, state, and federal levels that affects everyone, not just something that affects you. Okay, learn the terminology being used. A lot of these writers and a lot of these politicians love to use terminology that sounds impressive because we think it sounds too complicated for us to understand. And that's one of the biggest things I learned when I was studying government and when I was studying journalism in college is that's not that's not journalism. Like that's not reporting. That is manipulation. We got like as people, we have so much power, and no, right now it feels like that power is on the verge of going away for forever. If you don't understand why people are upset, though, those are things you can do. I encourage you to find voices from people of color. I encourage you to find people of sexuality other than yourself, especially women, non-binary women voices, non-binary voices, queer voices, trans voices. I highly encourage you to be just checking in on those types of people and seeing what they are saying and seeing why they are so concerned and upset. The amount of abhorrent comments I have seen in the last 2 days. In fact, I saw so many of these comments yesterday morning that I've just decided I'm basically done with social media at this point. The amount of people that were being filtered into my For You feed, and I want to be clear, I wasn't just a tweet, it was people quote tweeting these people of folks saying your body, my choice, literally made me sick to my stomach. It made me want to go vomit. If and I want to be if you believe that, you are an actual fucking monster. You're an actual fucking monster if you think that you have any right to police anybody's body. You're a fucking monster. I cannot stress this enough. Like we hear all the time about how from the right, from the extreme right wing, of they're going to persecute Republicans. Oh, they're going to persecute the Christians. I cannot emphasize to you enough how much that is never going to happen in America. Okay, but we saw on day one of this guy's presidency in 2016 when he got elected in January 2017, immediately tried to deport Muslims. The Muslim ban. Anybody remember that? I do. I fucking remember that because it
Yeah.
directly affected a friend of mine's family who is from Lebanon. And
Yeah.
she does not look Lebanese because she's half Lebanese, half white. She appears extremely white. But it affected her dad. It affected her grandparents. Like there are just so many things beyond the scope and the bubble in which so many of us live our lives. And I say that as someone who came from one of those bubbles. It wasn't until I went to college and got out of the evangelical Republican bubble that I was in that I was like, "Oh shit. There are so many other things that I should be considering." Like rather than just, well, I'm only voting for this person because they said they're gonna outlaw abortion, and at the time I thought that was a good idea. It's not. Um, like nobody has a right to police anybody else, and that is, I think that's the saddest part about this to me is they want you to live an extremely specific way. And guess what? A lot of you won't qualify for it because you're not the race that they want. You're not the religion they want. You're not the gender that you're not the gender they want. Like how many of these motherfuckers have you heard make jokes of jokes in quotations? If you can't see the video, I'm doing this in quotations. Jokes of get the fuck back in the kitchen. Like I'm so fucking sick of this. I'm so tired of this, and I really, 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 really thought we were going to fix it this time. I really thought we were going to. And I cannot underscore how disappointed I am. But if that galvanizes people like me into spending the rest of our lives trying to make things better for those around us and those who come after us, then that is a life worth living. I've been really, really clear with you guys in the past that I have struggled really severely with depression. I suffer from really bad anxiety. I was going through a really bad depressive episode already leading into Tuesday, and Tuesday night just made it worse. Like I was talking, our friend A1 Johnny was actually talking to me. It was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Neither one of us could sleep, and we were talking. And I was like, I don't know if I can do another 4 years of this, man. And I'm not even in one of the demographics most at risk here. My sister identifies as non-binary, though. She is, well, excuse me, they, it's still fairly new. They are trying to figure out where they fit in this world. And thank God they live in Seattle and not somewhere like Texas or Ohio or Oklahoma or Florida or somewhere like that. Like, thank God they live in a place where they can get the help that they need. They have resources, they have people around them who understand. And I was like, I just don't know if I can do another 4 years of this. Like, I'm already really depressed. I've been feeling it for a few months, not even related to the election. I've really been struggling with it. And I've gone through some pretty bad suicidal, tendencies in my life where I'm just
Mhm.
like, I just kind of want to end it all. And he really picked me up and kind of did what we're all going to have to do for our friends and family and our loved ones and our, acquaintances over the next several years. Like, hey, it's shit's bad, but it's not like you still have so much value. You still have so much to give this world. And I just want to tell anybody who's listening, I want to, kind of get to the end of my spiel here. If you ever feel that way, my DMs are always open. My Discord DMs are open. I'm largely off Twitter at this point. You can still hit me up in my Twitter DMs. I think I've left those open. Um, you, I want you to understand this is a safe place. If you do not have a safe online community to go to, this is a safe place for you. This will continue to be a safe place. And I don't fucking care who has to go in order to make it a safe place for you. That
Yeah.
is that is the bottom line. There are a lot of spaces online that I know are not safe for the people specifically at risk. I want you to know that for what it's worth, this will always be a safe place. This community is one that we founded based on accepting everybody, based on respecting each other, based on being a positive environment, based on being a place that we can all, have a corner of the internet to go to have friends, to have, have good times, to share the good and the bad. That's what this community was for. That's been Corey and I's whole message ever since we started podcasting, years and years and years ago. Our stance has always been be better.
Hmm.
For the first
Makes
time in my
sense.
life, I don't know if I can be better. It's
Yeah.
it's so easy to say it and it's so hard to put it into practice. And that is going to be I think that's going to be put to the test over the next couple of years. I really do. And
I
so
think
anyone who
I
struggles, our door is open.
yeah. I mean, I said this in the Discord, and I know Josh. I know you replied to it and
Mhm.
basically said the same thing, but reiterate what Josh just said too. Is I mean, my DMs are open on Discord, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook. I guess if you're still there, like I mean, I if you need someone to talk to, I don't care if I don't even know your name or who you are or
Mhm.
what you do or even if you play Destiny, right? I mean,
Yep.
if you're listening to this shit when you don't play Destiny, well, that's there's something else there. But
We yeah.
seriously though, I mean, it I I know a lot of people are about to go through some real shit, and
To say the least.
they're gonna need support more than ever now,
Mhm.
right? So uh, be there for your friends, for your loved ones. I haven't stopped thinking about this immigrant deportation thing for
No.
like
And that's something that hits really home for you. Just
um,
like the language being used around trans and non-binary individuals is hitting home for me.
yeah, it's it's that the only thing I can say now is like we have to be there for each other, um,
Yep, we have
and
to be.
we have to stand our ground and be strong and be supportive and that. So
We are stronger together than we are apart. Like
yeah,
at the genuinely at the end of the day, that is something they cannot take away from us, is unity and strength in numbers. We are a community. We are friends. We pick each other up. When somebody is struggling, we support them. We get behind them. We pick them back up. We stand in as the shield if we need to. Like there is no other way to say it. That is what we do. That's
yeah,
what we do as friends. That's what we do as human fucking beings. And I think a lot of people's resolve is going to be tested, but just to kind of put a bow on all of it, you are seen, you are heard, you are loved. This is a place of inclusion and for you to feel safe. This is a place for everyone. There's nothing else to say. Like if you cannot agree with that most basic of principles and statements, this is not the show. This is not the community for you. And I'm not sorry to see you go. If this 35 minutes is what causes you to go, goodbye.
yeah.
Like
I
there is just there is no substitute for human decency at this point.
yeah,
We
I,
are begging for you to understand why people are hurting, why they are scared, and just begging you to
and
understand.
and if you want to understand better, if we didn't spend 35 or so minutes explaining it to you, ask somebody who
Hmm.
doesn't look like me or Josh.
Yeah, kind of
Just
going back to what I said.
yeah,
You know,
just
find somebody who does not look like you or identify like you do, and ask them what's up with this.
yeah.
Okay, it's okay to not know everything. It was a long path of me getting to the point where I understood why people were fighting for the things that they were. We grow as human beings. We grow. The pursuit of knowledge is never ending.
Hmm.
And the craving of acceptance and of wanting to be loved and being accepted and be seen is a human emotion. Like, guys, I get that way. Okay. I'm like
Why
that.
do you think I have 5 podcasts?
I am I am a people pleaser at the end of the day. Like I want to be loved. I don't, and there's whole psychological reason for that, but like, you know, and I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're in the same position that I am. Like, I want
Hmm.
you to know, some of you have families that don't understand. Some of you have families that voted directly against your own interests and well-being. That's something Chelsea and I, my partner, have been coming to terms with. My sister-in-law is identifies as a lesbian. Her parents 100% voted and campaigned for Donald Trump, even though admitting that they knew that he was not Christian and that was their whole thing for the last 8 years. They still voted for him. My family, by and large, still voted for him, despite knowing that my half sister is non binary. They don't fucking care, despite the fact that my stepsister is 17, and a lot of the things that are happening with anti-abortion and with the wanting to get rid of birth control and Plan B and things like that will directly affect her in the coming years. They still voted against her own best interests for reasons I will never understand. So, just I'm gonna be a broken record at this point.
Hmm.
You're seen, you're loved. This is a safe community. That's the bullet points. If you disagree with any of those principles,
Yep.
see you on the
Here,
other side.
yeah. Here's
Eyes
here's
up, Guardians.
yeah. Here's what it comes down to for me, and this is all I'll say.
Yep.
Generally speaking, I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. I don't care about politics. I think that this whole thing has come down to how our new leaders are going to treat people, and that by itself is wrong. And I don't stand for that. And I think I speak for Josh that Josh doesn't stand for treating people like shit either, as we've just discussed for 40 minutes. And
Yep.
that's I'm going to
Be a
leave it at
decent
that.
fucking human being.
Treat people like human beings, respect them, and just be better, because I know we can be. We proved it once, we've proved it twice, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk in a circle if we don't. But
I know.
there's that's 40 minutes of our stance on everything. Um,
I will.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know where you want to go from here, Josh.
No, just know that for us to take time out of doing the show to talk about this, it's a serious fucking thing. We did this in 2020. We did this in January 2021. It's it's a very real thing, and we're not going to shy away from the hard topics. We've talked about issues inside the Destiny community before, with content creators and with the you know abuse and rampant misogyny that's gone towards women creators and women streamers and things like that. Like, we're not going to shy away from the hard topics just because it might make you uncomfortable. Like, you're going to get
Yeah.
it. We're going to talk about it, and you bet your ass we're going to talk about it next week on Xbox Casuals too. So
Yep.
to kind of spin out of that and go into a little bit more of the Destiny portion of the show, I guess. um Man,
I
uh
do you want
it's a
me to
little
give my
hard to.
impressions real quick of Destiny Rising?
Yeah,
It's
let's shift into Destiny Rising. I guess let's talk a little bit about that. We are going to try to get a guest on here, hopefully in 2 weeks, to talk Destiny Rising with us. Who has played? She has played an extensive amount of the game, a lot more than I certainly have. I've only made it through the opening area and into the
Mhm.
hub area.
Yeah,
I've made it to Haven. That's all I've made it
yeah,
to.
yeah. I've played a little bit more than that.
Okay,
Um, there are a few things. There are a few things I like, Josh. I
hit
do
me.
like the. I do like that you are able to uh, move between third and first person. I mean, I think the controls are good if you're using a controller. It feels like it should. I
Okay,
think
so you
for the
you
most
used
part.
a controller. I used the touch
Yes.
controls.
Yeah. See, so the new Mac OS update
Mm-hmm.
has screen mirroring for your
Interesting.
phone. And so
Okay.
what I did was I plugged my Xbox controller into my phone,
Mm-hmm.
and then I screen mirrored it onto my desktop here, and I played it like it was just Destiny.
So something I will say that I really appreciate about this from the get-go, when you go into options, there are default layouts for both Xbox and PS5 controllers.
Hmm.
I really
Yep.
appreciate that. It's NetEase, I feel, understood the audience that was going to play this game. This is not something I'm going to pick up and play just on a touchscreen. At the minimum, I'm going to pop it into a backbone.
Yeah.
But I feel like this isn't a game, just from that initial mission, that I'm going to play on the go too much, like maybe in an airport or something.
Yeah.
But I can't see myself playing it too much beyond that. I do like what I've played so far. I think that Wolf, the main character, and is his ghost name Sev or Zev?
Hmm. I think it's Sev.
Okay. Again, I played like 15 minutes of this
Yeah.
and was half asleep
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
4 a.m. when I was doing it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I already think that they have a good amount of personality, which I like. I
Yeah.
This does clearly take place in an alternate reality, which I don't know how jazzed I am about that still, but it is shocking to me that Haven is already better than any social space that we've gotten in the base game. That's a little alarming.
I will agree to that. Definitely agree to that. I think it's definitely. I think it's a tighter experience in a social space because I feel like everything in this game obviously is kind of molded around the mobile experience.
It feels like a
And
true MMO social space
yeah, um, it almost it almost
to me.
reminded me of a little bit of the Monster Hunter Wilds beta this weekend too. Uh, I
Yeah,
mean,
I could vibe
not
with
like
that.
fully, but not fully, but like just the
I think
amount of like things going on,
it
people and
reminded
stuff.
me of Kyovashed from Diablo 4 in a lot of ways.
Okay.
The base city there, where people are coming in and out constantly. There's the vendors, there's the stash, there's the world tier statue. You're picking up quests and things like that. Like,
Hmm.
there's the key NPCs to talk to, like the hub city. It
Yeah.
felt a lot like that to me. It felt like a tight experience, and like the people who made this like actually understand like what a mobile experience needs, but also what the standard console and PC experience is missing.
Yeah.
I
Which
think that
which
this game
which I'm
has the
going to get into.
potential. Yeah, I feel like this has a lot of potential to be really, really cool if the monetization is kept in check. I'm a little bit worried about that.
Oh, it's not going to be. um
It's not
I
pretty.
yeah, so to get on the things that I think Destiny 2 could probably take from this game,
Hmm.
first off, the hero mission, the hero missions and the hero campaigns. Fantastic idea that we've been talking about for a couple years in a way.
Yeah,
Like I love it. I think, obviously the I don't remember anybody's name, so I forgive me everybody. I also was kind of playing it with the sound down because children. Um
yeah,
but I love the idea of the hero missions, and like I love their powers. I love that they have special abilities that are theirs, right? It's definitely not playing into, really into the class system the way that we know it in Destiny. Um, the goth warlock chick that everybody's thirsty over is like, you know, really cool. And I do have to say the voice acting is terrible. But I know that these are all just AI placeholders for now, apparently. Is what I heard. Um, but I do like the hero campaigns. I like the fact that there are activities where they fill it with bots if you can't fill it, which is a nice idea for like smaller activities like strikes or
strikes
even
and
story
adventures and
missions.
whatnot.
Yeah, and like they have NPCs go into these missions and actually shoot enemies for you, sort of, kind of. And it's a really neat experience that way. Um, with that said, I don't I don't know if I would be playing this for hours on end because I think some of the mission variety is kind of not non-existent. um, at least from what I've played. Uh, I think that there's going to be some heavy monetization. You're going to have to
Which is what
unlock.
we expect.
Yeah, no, I
This
expect
is a
that,
this
but
is a
like,
NetEase game.
yeah, well, I know, but I mean, like, you're going to have to unlock, 5-star heroes to unlock the entire skill tree and these types of things. So I'm not jazzed about all that, but I
Yeah.
do think that there are some neat ideas in here. And if you can't take Destiny on the go with you on like a ROG Ally or, a Steam Deck that has been side loaded or whatever, like I think this is a nice little substitute for players. And I can see this game kind of drawing in a new aspect of the community that might want to try Destiny 2 at some point. Um, and I know this is really designed for the Asian audience, right? The Chinese audience, the free to play kind of gotcha audience, right? But I think there's something here. I'm not sure it's going to take over your Destiny time.
I think it's good to get that fix when you are on the go. For instance, I've talked about a lot in the past how I really, really enjoyed when it was part of Game Pass
Mm-hmm.
because I was able to play it when I was on vacation when Season of the Lost first came out. And it was great. I could check out the seasonal content, and that's about what it was stable enough for over a 5G connection, I felt. And if I'm
Mm-hmm.
at home where I have the better connection, I'm just going to play on my console. Like, why wouldn't I? I don't know how I feel about there being mobile raids, but I'm interested enough that I want to find out. I
So
am
what
really,
I've been
really
hearing about the
interested in it.
yeah, so what I've been hearing about the raids, honestly, is that
Are they available?
they what?
Are the raids available?
No, but what I've been
Okay.
hearing
Okay.
about from just like, you know, people, like the Destiny voices on the internet,
Hmm.
like They aren't like full on raids. Like you're not going to be playing the Taken King, like the King's
Right.
Fall, right?
Right.
But they're going to take little aspects of what makes the raids cool and shove them down into more of like a, like a smaller experience of like, okay, well, instead of like 6 or 7 encounters, there's 3 smaller encounters that are, one might be puzzle based, one might be a boss fight, and one's going to have mechanics or whatever. To be more of like a fit the mobile, like, hey, we all ride into work on the train together, so let's try out this raid while we're
Yeah.
riding in on the train, right? And you can complete it before your commute ends.
This is a game that we said from the very beginning when it was first being rumored and when the NetEase deal was announced that this was going to be a game targeted primarily towards the Asian market.
Mhm.
I do think there is a lot here for American audiences, but I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with this is going to be a good commute game. How
Mhm.
many of us really have commutes where we're not in the car? Like just based on how our society is structured.
Right.
Right? Like unless you're taking the train to work or you're taking like the metro or you're taking the MTA or BART or whatever, like you're probably not commuting on something other than a car.
Right.
So I would say that like in that respect, I don't think we'll get as much use out of it. And I do truly think like if I'm sitting on my couch at home, I'd just rather play Destiny. But it does offer a bit of a different experience. It's something different than the same strikes that we've been playing for 7 years.
Mhm.
I think that's its biggest selling point is it's just something new. It's set in a new reality, a new universe. I am very interested to see how they do this with storytelling. I'm I'm not totally out on this.
No, I think the new timeline is very interesting,
They
especially
didn't
if
try
this
to cram
becomes
it in like they did with Diablo Immortal
right. But
yet.
the cool thing they could do eventually is if this game takes off and it's popular and it's, making them money, we already know there's timeline jumping and time traveling, and this could be like an alternate universe Elsie Bray saw something situation and tie it back in to the lore at some point without
hmm
actually harming the current lore, right? um and so yeah, I think I really like the new hero characters, man. I think they're cool.
I think it's an interesting approach. I don't know how much I love it, but I think it's an interesting approach. And like I said, I think that Wolf has more personality than our Guardian has ever had.
Well, yeah.
And I've only played one mission, so
Yeah, Wolf is cool. I'm into
Wolf
it.
is very cool.
um Also want to say that like I actually can't believe they translated the gunplay over relatively well. Like it feels like it feels a lot like Destiny. um and I really appreciate that, because
It's
sometimes
so
you get the mobile version of something and it just feels like just meh. No.
I felt like this was going to be at the very least a passable game because I didn't hate Diablo Immortal. It was the monetization made it almost
Mhm.
impossible to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that was the
So
big gripe with everybody for that game, right?
right. Well, I mean, some people just hated it because do you guys not have phones? And
Right.
that reveal could have gone way better. I actually think this one was handled kind of great. They just formally announced it, and then dumped it. Like a week, like 2 weeks later, it was in a closed alpha.
Hmm.
So I think that was a good idea. I'm curious to see how this evolves and when it goes into full release. I
Hmm.
suspect we get an announcement at the Game Awards as to when it's going to happen because
Hmm.
the alpha test closes in 2-3 weeks. I think we have a full month with it.
Yeah.
So I am interested to see what happens with that. And the fact that they didn't NDA anybody who played it actually really surprised me. I was fully expecting to have to like tap dance around it.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan, man. I really hope this is the beginning of like good mobile versions of console games. This week also saw the release of like Pokemon trading card game
Oh,
app,
yeah.
and let me tell you something, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan because I don't know how to play Pokemon anymore because, I haven't played it since I was like 7 years old. But I kind of addicted to opening up digital Pokemon cards. And I actually I like the battle system. You don't have to play against other people. You can play against AI opponents if you want to and still earn the same rewards. I really like all of that. So, I mean, if we can get a few games just translating the experience to mobile, I think that signals a whole new turn for mobile games. Like we talked about on Xbox Casuals, and Microsoft wants to open up a digital game store for mobile. Games like this are what they're going to be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Those console experiences all in one place. And like, if Bungie was still independent, they'd probably be partnering with them on some stuff. Like, oh hey, let's tie some perks for it into
Absolutely.
Game Pass Ultimate or something.
Yeah.
So I do think
Shader. I
there's
mean, you could see like shaders and
And I'm pretty sure there's going
emblems
to be
and
shaders and emblems that'll be given out if you play Destiny Rising. If we're
oh, I'm
doing it for
sure.
watching 15 minutes on Twitch, we're going to do it here.
I'm sure.
So, and I think it's cool. Like if you're playing on both, if you're playing both games, you should be getting cosmetics for both, in my opinion. There's a game within a game. There's a card game in this. Sparrow Racing is supposedly in this. I haven't checked it out for myself yet. I don't know if anybody can, but it is. If it's not there in the game right now, it's definitely in the files. Sparrow Racing is a thing, apparently.
Great. I'm in.
So, all of you saying Sparrow Racing League, it's in the NetEase game, along with the card
Hey,
game, which is like the bane of my entire existence because it's something else for me to get hooked on.
maybe
So,
there is a maybe there's gyro controls for the
oh
sparrows.
god, there is nothing I would like less than that.
Oh, come on, it'll be fun.
Not a fan. All right. Well, Destiny Rising. Like I said, we're going to try and get a guest on here in a couple weeks to talk to us about it before the alpha closes. If not, we will absolutely have her on when the full game launches.
Yeah.
Talk Destiny Rising with us. Um,
Yeah, I'll talk to her about it.
yeah, man, could end up being a really solid mobile game. We'll wait
Could
and
be.
see. Before we get to the Schwabs from the last couple weeks, there's really not much there. Did you see that Atlas had a feature in the New York Times today?
I did not.
There was a whole piece in the New York Times about their menu design
Ooh.
in games, about their UI, and there's screenshots from Metaphor for the Metaphor main menu, the Archetype tree, and the Persona 5 Royale menu.
Ooh.
Which,
Those
like,
are
if
great
you've looked at
menus.
any Atlas game ever, you know how much work they put into their UI.
Yep.
It's basically they basically said they had to make an engine within the engine just to run the menus, which is fucking wild to me.
That's so
So it's so fucking cool. It's so fucking
crazy.
cool, and I don't care.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, and I absolutely love them for it. And this is their hint. Hey, go play Metaphor. It's the game of the year. Moving right along, we're about halfway through Festival of the Lost right now, and it's not lighting my world on fire, Corey. Big surprise.
What?
I'm tired of doing the same 3 lost sectors every year.
Oh, Josh, you just got to run through it backwards. You'll be
Dude,
fine.
I'm so tired of it. I don't even think we're doing 4 this year. I think we're only doing 3. If there are 4, I haven't seen all 4 of them. But I think it's just the same ones as always. I think there's a couple new lines of dialogue. And that's it. I don't remember if Amaru was part of last year's, but he's definitely there this year, and I enjoy that. I think he's the perfect kind of character to be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I We need to evolve these seasonal events. This is an event I would at this point, this is the level of event I would expect in Destiny Rising, not Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I'm beating a drum that I have put dents in, that I have thrown down the street and picked up, that I've slammed against the wall. I have abused this poor drum at this point because I'm so tired of saying this, but holy shit, we need new event style content.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I almost caved, and I still might cave and buy the event card this time because that's one of the best ghosts I've ever seen. The hands that are holding the ghost ball
Mm-hmm.
and they like move. I really like that.
Yeah.
I may have to break my golden rule of never buying an event card for that ghost alone. I'm a
Don't do
little
it, Josh.
disgusted saying it.
Don't do it.
On the subject of the shotgun this year, I have not had a chance to use this shotty necessarily. I have a couple rolls of it. I wasn't really thrilled with any of my rolls. I think the only one that I have actually kept, let me pull up my dim real fast. The only one I kept was one I wasn't super thrilled about. It's the generic one. They give you trench barrel dual loader. Not
Mm-hmm.
super jazzed on that one. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I'm also like, whatever.
Yeah.
There are some spicy perks on this gun that I really like. I think we've gone over these, but I wanna go over them again. In the first column, you have air trigger, you have fourth times the charm, you have grave robber, lone wolf, slide shot, dual loader, and threat detector. In that second column, you have closing time, you have desperado, you have precision instrument, surrounded, tap the trigger, swashbuckler, and volt shot. I think this is actually a little crazy to have fucking Desperado on a shotgun.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
I think that's kind of wild, and I kind of love it.
It's
I really like that. I think that that is just wacky enough to be fun. It's not going to be meta, but you combine that with something like fourth times, and I think you can have some fun with it. I think
yeah.
fourth times and dual loader are probably the two best ones to put in that first slot. I know a lot of folks will argue slide shot. My personal playstyle, I'm not really going for slide shot. Um, I know that people like GG really enjoy having precision instrument and volt shot mainly as the secondary
Mm-hmm.
perk. Can't go wrong with volt shot. I think volt shot's a great option. I've been running. I want to say I've been running volt shot on my shotty this season. Um, yeah, I got that new world drop shoddy. Oh, excuse me, it does not have Volt Shot on it. I've been running Chain Reaction Discord on Dead Gramare 4 is a new world drop shoddy for I guess it came out last season. It came out in Echoes, and I got one at the beginning of this season and really, really like it. So I've been using shoddies more. I'm interested to go use Arcane Embrace a little bit. It is the first of its frame, so not entirely shocked that the community doesn't seem to be going ape shit for it just yet. It usually takes us a couple of a new frame to get comfortable. If you guys remember when we first got legendary trace rifles, we were kind of like, well, don't know how I feel about these. We got like 6 exotic ones, and then hey, they turned around like 6 months later and started making them awesome. So
Yeah.
what the fuck do I know?
What do you know, Josh? What do you know, Josh?
Nothing, apparently. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, good times.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yep. Good times. Good times. So yeah, not a whole lot going on with festival this year. It's just kind of more of the same. Spooky Grandma's back. Um
Spooky grandma.
it is what it is. Like I'm not getting too bent out of shape about it, although I do find it really funny that this is going to end and Dawning is going to start in like less than a month because we're doing this so late.
Yeah.
At this point, she might as well be Thanksgiving grandma. I mean, it's November 7th, and we still have a week and a half of this to go. We're going to go out of this straight into 2 weeks of Iron Banner and then probably straight into Dawning, honestly.
Yeah.
So, interested about that. But if we don't have any other thoughts on this here event, I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about. We do have a few other things to hit on. Starting next week, next Tuesday on the 12th, there is going to be an Act 2 Revenant stream for the Twitch channel. There is an awesome emblem you can get watching this. This is a really cool one. We Begin in the Stars is the emblem. This thing looks really, really cool. It's going to be airing November 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific. I believe our favorite community manager, Dylan, said he is going to be a part of that. That's DMGO4 for those of you at home. So I would be tuning into that. I'm very interested. Hopefully, we're going to get our first look at the new Trial of the Elders. Is that what it's called? Mode.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're gonna see that. I don't remember the name of it. I haven't slept much, but I've slept some since the last time that I dug through the menus.
Let's see.
But
Tomb of the Elder.
we'll share a detailed look at the new activity rewards and more coming with the second act of Revenant. It does not feel like the second act should be. It does and does not feel like it should be here. The
Yeah.
last month has just kind of been a blur to me, frankly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've just had a whole lot going on in my personal life, and I've also been consumed by two mega long RPGs in that span. But
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing a ton of other things that like Destiny has kind of been the farthest thing from my mind, except for
yeah,
one or two
this is the
check-ins.
least seasonal challenges and the least seasonal level that I've had through the first 5 weeks of a season. I think maybe ever.
Yeah.
Normally I've hit rank 100 by now handily, and I think I'm at like 65 right now. I got to get in place more Onslaught this week. I'm looking forward to it. I was kind of trying to hold off until we had more weapons available, but I may have to just break my own cardinal rule and go do it. I've got challenges stacking up. I want to get this pass done, even if I'm not super blown away by it.
Yeah.
Uh, so looking forward to that. Other things that are going to launch next week: Grandmaster Nightfall catch up launches. I guess this isn't next week, on November the 19th. Starting on November 19th, you'll be able to access all 9 Grandmaster Nightfalls for the episode in the Grandmaster Catch Up node. Grab your favorite fire team or find one through the Fire Team Finder and continue your journey, mighty conquerors. So, looking forward to that. Bungie Foundation Hurricane Relief wrap up. Bungie Foundation raised more than $375,000. That is incredible. I love this community. I think this community is very giving and very caring when we're able to be. So that's very cool. Something I did like that they're doing, spooky haunted builds that they have shared here. I actually really like that some people were nice enough to just or not some people, Revenant over on Twitter sent in a detailed screenshot of what everything in their build does, and I really appreciated that. I think that's
Mhm.
really cool if you're looking for a fun Warlock build. Prismatic Warlock with Vesper of Radius, that is one to go look at for all my Warlock friends out there. I would check that out. There's a video, Solar Warlock with Speaker's Helm and Constant Restoration, Void Titan with Heart of Inmost Light and Fighting Lion, and then a Void Hunter with Radiant Dance Machines and Parasite. So I think
Ooh.
all those are interesting, as well as a Stasis Titan with Blast Wave Striders and Alathenum for explosive jumps and damage. So there's some really cool stuff in there. Recommend going and checking those out. That was it for this week's TWAB. Last week we really didn't have a lot last week either. Last week was a lot of fashion stuff, to be frank with you. But we did have one major thing that got announced, and I hated that they tweeted this out on Friday. On the Friday after we released our last episode, like literally hours after we recorded and released our last hour casuals, they announced that this was fixed or that they had figured out a fix. This fix went live this past Tuesday, but Perkgate is officially over. It ended just after we made a big stink about it, too. I love that for us.
It's over. Rip.
It's over. There is going to be a full post detailing what happened, but the long and the short of it is some things unintentionally happened in the back end. Do 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 do. There
What?
is an emblem you can go get. You can look at last week's TWAB for that. But here's the nitty gritty that everybody wants to hear about. Starting November 19th through December 3rd, Vesper's host will offer double drops for encounter and activity completions. Both weapon and armor rewards can drop from each encounter's completion. This will be a great time to hunt your desired rolls on weapons or hit master difficulty up for some artifice armor. Starting November 19th, Banshee will also have a small collection of weapons in the tower with curated perk rolls. Our goal is to get you some perk combinations that were a bit harder to earn due to the bug. We do not currently have a planned deadline for acquisition, but we would recommend picking these weapons up at your earliest convenience. Note, dungeon-related weapons will require dungeon ownership and at least one dungeon completion. We are aiming to have a deep dive article covering this issue in more detail, and it may take a bit of time. We plan to provide a target date when we can. I would not expect that before Thanksgiving, personally. I would expect that to be some Christmas reading that we get. But the weapons and perk rolls that we are going to get are interested, there's 6 weapons here. Rose will come with fluted barrel, accurized rounds, slide shot, explosive payload, smooth grip, and a handling masterwork. Multi-Mach, the famed Iron Banner SMG, will come with polygonal rifling, tactical mag, attrition orbs, kinetic tremors, and a reload masterwork. Indebted Kindness, our favorite arc rocket sidearm on the Citadel, is going to be coming with smart drift control, tactical mag, loose change, volt shot, and a velocity masterwork. I don't know who was asking for loose change on this one, but okay. Compass Rose. Can't believe we're going all the way back to Solstice, but corkscrew rifling, light mag, snapshot sights, slide shot, handling masterwork, hothead adept, hard launch, impact casing, tracking module, clown cartridge, reload masterwork. I don't know if that's like the greatest role for that particular gun. I would grab it anyways, though. Uh, and then, of course, the big daddy of them all, the big prize, the fabled heavy stasis grenade launcher from the brand new Vespers Host Dungeon. The VS Chill Inhibitor, Countermass, Spike Nades, Envious Arsenal, Bait and Switch, Reload Masterwork. They are giving away the actual god roll on this gun, everybody. I cannot exaggerate how much I did not expect this. We saw the weapon list and I was like, oh, there's no way it's going to be a good roll on that gun. Holy shit, they gave us the god roll. I actually can't believe they straight up gave us Envious Bait and Switch. That is the ultimate, we know we fucked up, here you go roll. They had to have seen the numbers the community was putting in and could not get those 2 perks to drop together to save their lives. Unless you're Ronnie and you're super lucky and you got it like in week 1. But Ronnie, for the rest of us, yeah, to me, I'm Ronnie. I have great luck with RNGesus. I love you, Ronnie. I really do.
I don't.
Heart. Well, Corey doesn't, but I do. This seriously is great news. It's one of the best heavies in the game right now, if not the best. Absolutely. If you don't use heavy grenade launchers, buy it and put it in your fucking vault. Like, just do it. That's what I'm going to be doing with half of these. I have an Indebted Kindness I'm really happy with. I don't really use hand cannons. I will be grabbing Multi-Mach. I'll be grabbing the Compass Rose. I'll grab Hothead. I'll grab the Chill Inhibitor. Very happy to have all 4 of these. Holy W, Bungie. Very excited between this and the double drops they're going to have for the 2 weeks of the 2 weeks of Iron Banner. We're taking that away from you too.
Oh boy.
Iron Banner is slated to start on the 19th. And it's supposed to run through the 3rd, which is the same as double drops. Ain't nobody playing. And it's wild because Iron Banner has weapons that I actually really want to. The Stasis rocket pistol is going to be in there, and so is the new version of Archon's Thunder. I believe it's now a Stasis LMG. Ooh. I really want those guns, but I also just really want to go farm Vesper's Host First Encounter now. So,
yeah,
I did get my icebreaker to drop. Very excited. I need to finish doing the catalyst for it, but very, very excited. Big fan. Big fan.
Nice.
Can't wait to start using icebreaker. People talk about it just a little bit. Did not have to suffer too long to go and get it, which is nice. Have all the puzzles already done to have it complete once you actually get said catalyst. And all you have to do to get the catalyst, you have to go through and shoot like 4 stasis crystals with icebreaker throughout the dungeon. So I need to go through and do that. Probably going to wait until A1 Johnny gets it too, so that me, him, and Joasis can run through and do it together. Really looking forward to that, but there's not a lot going on here. It should be noted, if you got that dual loader trench barrel shoddy, don't delete it. Trench barrel is not supposed to roll on that weapon. And that should be the static first drop that you get from her on that gun. So, yeah, I'd lock that shit and throw it in the vault.
Lock it up.
I have to ask Oh, so it is actually a known issue. I was wondering if this was a thing. If players advance to the point where the icebreaker catalyst is meant to drop before they own the weapon, the triumph for the catalyst will be auto completed, and the player will not be able to acquire the catalyst. Uh-oh, I may have a problem. I was going to ask you if I just completely lost my train of thought. Oh, did you see this ridiculous farming that some of us were doing on third encounter in Garden of Salvation?
I heard about it.
That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Who the fuck finds this stuff? Um, I was shown it by a couple of community members, and they were doing it. And they're like, "All right, so you just got to stand here, and you don't have to do anything else." It was like I gotta do everything, but like had to get up and out of the map and drop through one little box in the wall that wasn't filled in, and you can drop down, and the boss is just hanging out on a platform down there, and you just shoot him with something like Salvation's Grip or something that makes a bunch of like crystals or something, and push him off with it, and then you get back up and get out and run over and complete the tether. You have to knock them off, and you have to connect the tether you had to connect the tether within a specific 10-second window. So you had to sit there with a stopwatch. It was kind of genius. We were doing it on master to get double chests. It
Nice.
was kind of cool. You could only get a couple of weapons to drop from it, but it was really really cool. I was enjoying it because I really want the pulse from that dungeon to be that raid to be craftable, and so I may have burned a few deep side harmonizers to get it done. God, Sacred Providence is
How
so
many?
good.
A few. What's a few?
Considering I've actually never touched my deep side harmonizers outside of like 3 of them. I have a bunch stored up in old season passes. So I may have used the Google Chrome plugin and gone and grabbed some from like a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, I may have gone and grabbed some
Who's to
from
say?
I who's to say, but I may or may not have gotten them from season of the Seraph. I think that's how far back I went.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I went back pretty far to get those. It was Seraph or Defiance. I went back pretty far getting these. But no, all joking aside, it was really nice to be able to do that and be able to farm it out for an afternoon before that went away. I got a couple of drops for both that and I think it's the hand cannon that also dropped from that encounter. But it was nice. It was nice to be able to get back in there. I haven't touched Garden since my one Divinity completion, so it was kind of nice to see that arena and that encounter again. That bastard of a Vex Harpy, but yeah, they don't make them like that anymore. We get better raids now, so
They don't make them like they used to.
they don't make them like they used to. Thank God, because the tether mechanic in that raid is still one of the worst things that they have ever done in Destiny, in my humble opinion.
Oh,
Uh,
rip.
what else do we have, Corey? Do you have anything
Um,
else?
I don't really have anything else. I don't really have anything else. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He's not gonna lie to me, chat.
I've been so focused on the beginning of the show that I had
Yeah.
nothing, besides my Destiny Rising experience. We could talk about the Monster Hunter thing real quick if you want. I mean, or we
You can
could
go
save
ahead and
that
talk
for
about
Xbox.
you can talk about Monster. I have not played it. I did
Okay.
watch some friends play it. I have not touched it, and it was down by the time I got around to it.
Yeah, I just figured that Monster Hunter Wilds is kind of
Go for it.
relevant to our audience.
Go for it.
Uh, it's I here's the thing. I wanted to really love it. I think it has a lot of amazing things going on. I think the monster design is great. I think Capcom has the best character creator. Every time I play a Monster Hunter game, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this character creator is fantastic." I need every game to have a character creator like Monster Hunter. Um my biggest gripe, and granted, I wonder if they'll fix it because actually saw a lot of people complaining about this too, is that controller button mapping is almost completely non-existent, and it would have really helped if I could have mapped buttons to play how I would have liked to have played.
Hmm.
I think that the base controls for controller are not very good. Um, and it sucks because there are several other games that theoretically play a lot like this that do it much better. I could point to God of War, I can point to Horizon, I can point to Assassin's Creed, those types of games in terms of action. Um, and I know there's a lot more going on. I'm not trying to say that there isn't, but man, these buttons are all over the place, man, all over the place. Uh, and it would really help if you had some button mapping. But with that said, the camp stuff is really, there are a lot of people in camp, Josh. Let me tell you, there are a lot of people in that hub world. It is borderline full on MMO territory here. Um, but what I do like is that when you go to choose a mission from the board, it is seamless. There is no loading. There's no switching to a new instance. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It is all just, you're in it. You go there. You go back to camp, and it's all seamless. Once you load into the game, you're in the game, and I really appreciate that. Uh, I think it's a gorgeous game. Like, even in this state, like, it is a beautiful looking game. Ran a little rough. Definitely some sub 20 frames at some points, but
Yeah, I've heard the performance is pretty rough for this game.
yeah. Uh, but I actually think if you're looking for something to kind of, you know, hold you over until Destiny comes up with something, more substantial than Festival of the Lost, I think this could be something in the future that people will gravitate towards. I mean, we saw that with World, right? So, uh, yeah, I liked it. I think it's great. I think it's cool. If they fix the controls, you might lose me to that game. It's that fun. So that's my high level
Yeah,
thoughts on it.
I'll go a little bit more into this on Xbox Casuals, but I've been playing a lot of Dragon Age Veilguard over the last
Hmm.
week, and man, I'm loving it. I understand where some of the legitimate concerns for this game come from. I think the writing is a little rocky in parts, and yet at the same time, it has maybe two of my favorite BioWare characters ever in it.
Hmm.
So it's certainly the most engaged I've been in a BioWare game since at least Mass Effect 3, maybe Mass Effect 2, honestly. I think there's tons of quests to do here. At first I was kind of shocked, like when you get into these, like, they're open world but they're not areas. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, man, I don't feel like there's enough of these. And they use the same locations over and over and over and over again. You start to know them like the back of your hand, but I do feel like the in-world storytelling is really good. Like the actual overall story is good. It's some of the companion dialogue is a little rough at times,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm overall enjoying it. I'm probably a little past the halfway point right now. I don't know how far I am, and I don't really want to go looking to see how far I am, but I feel like I've at least hit that halfway mark.
Yeah.
So I am having fun with it. I do think it's good. I don't know. Haven't decided how much I really love it yet. I do think right now it's certainly in my top 5 for game of the year. If it keeps going the way that I'm enjoying it, it'll probably make my top 3. But to hop over that to get to my top 3, it's got to beat out Persona 3 Reload so far, and potentially Astrobot.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's going to quite do that, but it has been a very good game to me. I enjoy that the combat is much more like God of War than the other games. So I like that. It offers for some customization and how you want to play your class. You choose your class, and then from there, there's specializations you can get into. I'm playing it like a Titan, so I'm just beating the shit out of everything, and I really enjoy that.
Nice.
I'm living my best life. Normally, I play a rogue in these types of games. I wanted to play something a little bit different. So And the rogue that joins your party is, oh, he's fucking phenomenal. One of the absolute best characters that I think BioWare has ever done. Like we're
Nice.
talking, he's up there on the level of Garrus.
Wow. Nice.
He's on the level of Garrus Vicarian. So
Nice.
if there is a, assuming he makes it out alive in this game, if he is not in the next Dragon Age, we riot. We absolutely riot. I have another character I really, really love in this, but it would be a pretty massive spoiler as to why I like them. So I'll just say for right now, not everybody is who they appear to be, and I think that makes it really, really fun.
Nice.
So, well, Corey, what do you say that what do you say we do a quick little lore corner and then we get on out of here?
Yeah, lore corner. Let's do it.
We got a small lore corner tonight. Nothing too fancy. This is the Rhymecoat Rament, the new Warlock exotic chest piece. The impossibility of any situation is flexible if you know where to look. Mara Sov. Not for the first time, Mara finds Crow sitting in the rafters of her court, watching the clockwise creatures through high windows. You wish to speak with me. She does not wait for him to come down, but joys him in the eyrie. How can you bear to see them cursed, knowing there is nothing you can do? Mara considers this. The impossibility of any situation is flexible if you know where to look. Her brother's defeated sigh mirrors her own frustrations. You're not wrong. It's heartbreaking to see those in your charge suffer. Up close, Mara can see how light and time have reshaped him. Crow fidgets with a strand of his new cloak. Ida is no closer to a cure. Though she would never admit it, we have nothing but dead ends and ticking clocks. Do you suspect she will do something reckless? She asks. I've seen love drive people to extremes, break any law, fight any battle, just for a glimpse of hope. Sometimes hope is enough. Mara watches the battle play out below them as it has countless times before. Sometimes hope is all a leader can offer. Actions may build a bridge, but it is hope that drives us across to the other side. The cycle continues around them and the still point in the center of a whirling, recurring dream. For a moment, their duties wait. And this is really cool because Crow might be one of the only people who actually understands what Ido is feeling. Now that he has his memories as Uldren back, he understands the lengths he went through to try and find Mara and to reclaim the reef and things like that after the attack by Oryx. So I think it's really important that he's emphasizing, because he's also, he's made himself an ally to the Elixni. He's, ever since they first came to the city, he's been in their corner. And to not be able to do anything has to be incredibly frustrating for him. But I do think they're right to worry about, and I think they're onto something with this. They're right to be concerned about Ido, because I do think Ido is going to do something reckless, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to have to do with freeing Aramis to help her obtain part of the cure for Mithrax.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love where that's going to go, because it's probably going to inevitably end with Aramis's death, but I do think that the time is kind of running its course on her storyline and on the Fanatics. I actually would really love to see Fikrul dealt with this season, although I feel like he won't be, because, if you're going to deal with him, it needs to be in an exotic mission, or it needs to be in a dungeon of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little frustrating, and I think that that's ultimately like the shortcomings of Destiny seasons. Like we talked about so many times before, it's so hard to have definitive conclusions to antagonists for seasons, because you either have to keep stringing them out until they can be full-fledged expansion villains, or they have to be big nothing burgers, because those missions are going to fade away no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like Fikrul, who's been around long enough, isn't going to be felled by a simple strike. We fought him twice in a campaign. We fought him in a strike, and this motherfucker is still alive at this point. I don't know why we weren't killing him in a dungeon, but instead we killed Atrax 2.0 essentially. So just some food for thought. I think that kind of lays the seeds for where we may go in Acts 2 and 3, because we really didn't do too much in Act 1, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested to see where this story goes, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about that the next time that we get together here in 2 weeks. I think the story is going to take some interesting turns. I'm hoping this is the meat and potatoes of it. Also, so far, Saint's not involved in this. You can't tell me Saint's not down there checking on his boy. So Saint seems to be connected to everybody in these seasonal stories, though, and we just had a whole season with Saint, so kind of.
Sort of.
So, yeah, sort of, not really. So That's it. Just real short and sweet lore corner. I like that they're finding ways to keep Mara involved in the story too. I think that was a big complaint, is that she was just gone for too long when she's this ultra powerful being. So it was kind
Yeah.
of a surprise that she was back for Defiance, and then for Wish. Obviously, she was a part of Wish. It was cool to see her and well, I was gonna say her and Petra, but Petra wasn't there. Petra was there at the final fight, but for Mara to show up and like Tokyo Drift the helm into the witness fight was kind of cool. It was funny today. They announced the Mass Effect series is going forward at Amazon, and it's the writer of Fast and Furious 9, which does not inspire any hope, by the way. And my question to our friend Ray was, do you think they're going to remix the Tokyo Drift song?
That would be amazing.
Instead of them singing about how life is in Tokyo, is it going to be about the Citadel?
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
Is it going to be Mass Effect Citadel Drift?
Oh my gosh, please let Vin Diesel play Rex.
I need him to be Rex, or if it goes long enough, I need him to be that crew member from Mass Effect 3.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I need him to just, but that, I feel like that crew member is too sophisticated for him. Can we just like make him Jacob?
Oh God.
Like, can,
There
or
are...
Steve?
Oh God.
Who is the least annoying character that we think we could get Vin Diesel to be in these movies? Because I like Rex. He should be Grunt. That's who he should be. He should be Grunt.
Yeah, Grunt would probably be better.
Grunt would probably be better. Make Dave Bautista Rex. Just reverse him.
Yeah.
What's John DiMaggio doing outside of Gears E-Day? Can he step in to be Rex?
Is he doing E-Day?
They officially announced it today. Him and I forget who voices Dom, but the classic voices of Marcus Phoenix and Dom Santiago are back for E-Day.
Man, it's man.
That was a bright spot of news in a really shit ass week.
Yeah. You know what else was bright news is that the successor to the Nintendo Switch will be backwards compatible.
Which I feel like we all knew this. But it is Nintendo, so
I think we knew that this was going to happen, but we also wouldn't have been surprised if it didn't.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I say like, oh, well, we knew this. Like, I definitely was like, I was bracing for it not to be backwards compatible. It would have been the most Nintendo thing ever. And then like I saw the scolding of random Nintendo fans out there being like, that was the old Nintendo. That's not the new Nintendo. It's like, guys, we're still using Discord on our phones for voice chat when we're playing multiplayer on the Switch. Let's not get too carried away with new Nintendo here.
Yeah.
So I am interested to see when that gets revealed. But
guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. Carlos Ferro is the guy I was thinking of. Dom Santiago.
Yes.
Both him and John DiMaggio are back for E-Day. And man, if this doesn't feel like a swan song, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
Do you know today was the 18th anniversary of Gears of War?
I'm quite aware, Josh. Thank you.
How did your back start hurting like mine did when I heard that?
Dude, I was yeah. We'll just
I was in the ninth grade when Gears came out. And it was such a big deal because I was the only one of my friends who owned a 360.
I was still playing college football when that came out.
We played so much of the original Gears, Guitar Hero 2, and Halo 2 on that console. I think I let people borrow my 360 so they could experience Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
I remember letting my buddy borrow it when I went on vacation, and he like marathoned Oblivion in like 10 days.
Dang.
And then we all played co-op Ghost Recon because that Advanced Warfighter game was so good.
Yeah, Advanced Warfighter was good. Yeah, I played so much Gears, Josh. So much Gears 1 that I had to get a second copy because my disc was worn out.
That's what happened to me with both Morrowind and Oblivion. I left that part out of our Jeff Gardner interview because I didn't want to seem like too much of a fanboy. But I absolutely burned my Oblivion disc out, and I had to go buy another one because I own the collector's edition. I bought another disc that's just like has all the DLC on it, and the disc looks exactly the same. So it's like, oh, score, I'm good.
Nice.
I just bought it and tossed the case. I might have used it for something else. I don't know if there's still another game that I used it for, but my last note before I get us out of here, my local game shop did a customer appreciation day the other day.
Ooh.
Support your local game shops, by the way. It's a nice retro store that sells literally everything. I think like all the way from Atari 2600 stuff to Series X and PS5, and they had some really cool shit. The whole reason I went there was they were posting on their Instagram like a day before that they had the special Japanese Monster Hunter PS4 console, and I was going to go buy it for our friend Ray and have him pay me back. And alas, they did not have it. I almost bought a Steam Deck that they had though. They had an OLED Steam Deck for about $75 cheaper than retail, and I damn near bought it. I don't think you realize how expensive some of these retro games, especially Nintendo games, can get until you go to a shop like this that knows what they have. Uh, Copies of Pokemon Gold and Silver in box going for like $500. That is, yeah,
Wow.
and that was on the cheaper end of some of these. I only walked away with two things for myself: a steelbook of Persona 5 for the PS4, which I had several years ago, and I parted with to a friend when I decided I did not like vanilla Persona 5, and imagine my regret. So for the last 2 years, I've been trying to track one down. Got that for $10 on sale, and picked up a new figure for my above my desk shelf, an older Star Wars figure. They had a bunch of packs out there of older figures, and so I got the original concept art of Boba Fett figure from about 15 years ago. The first time I think they made the white suit Boba Fett as an action figure. Got one of those for me, and picked up a few small things for my partner for Christmas. So,
Nice.
also, in what Josh has spent his money on lately, I got my Ace of Spades. This thing is fucking massive, Corey.
It's huge. It's pretty big.
It's not even fitting completely in the frame. This thing is huge. This thing's bigger than my head, and I have a big ass head.
Mhm.
This thing's huge. It's really cool. I talked about it on Xbox Casuals last week. I still love it. It's living on my desk right now, and I know this is a very niche thing to even in our hallowed corner of the internet, but the special edition 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide for Dungeons and Dragons. Bought one for myself and one for A1 Johnny. So we are exploring the new Bastion system together, and that leads to our partners getting irritated with us because we're talking until all hours of the night. So,
Nice.
with that, Corey, do we have anything else before we get on out of here? I don't think I have anything else.
I don't have anything.
This is a really slow week for Destiny, guys. I'm really sorry. This is a key example of why we have shifted to every other week.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. I just want to remind everybody out there to be kind to one another and support each other. And, you know, we are all here. We are both here for all of you, and you should all be there for each other.
Yep.
So, but Josh, let's get out of here. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. You can join the Discord. You can be a part of our community. If you need something now more than ever, you can come join us. Josh, thank you for your time as always. Where can we find you?
Right now you can find me on Discord. I'm pretty rapidly leaving. I was going to say slowly. I'm pretty rapidly leaving social media. I may still tweet here and there. I'm probably not going to be checking my messages at all. And if you go on there, it's just going to be a lot of angry ranting from me these days. TBD where you can find me. You might be able to find me on Blue Sky in the future. I don't know. I think I'm just kind of done with social media at this point in my life. Unless you're sending me funny cat videos on Instagram, and then I welcome that. But even then, I'm pretty private on everything except for my Twitter. So you can find me in Discord.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all over social media because that's my job, my real job. But also I've been primarily using Blue Sky the last week or two, and it feels like old Twitter right now. But you know how that goes. So did Threads for a day and a half. So, uh, anyways, you can find me at I am Corey HD on your platform of choice. I will be there in some capacity, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah, join the Discord. That's the happiest place. It's like Disneyland for your brain. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to make myself laugh. I want to thank everybody for watching it or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.